Welcome everyone to the another episode. Today we have a Mr. Eric Baxter, all the way from Colombia. So he helps unfulfilled individuals transition into fulfillment and into the life of purpose. So he works with like a client in the globally and help them with through his life coaching method he been doing. So he's been over 4 years in the life coaching space. So we'll be learning more about his journey, how he became a life coach, what led him to find his purpose, and how she helped his clients. So without further ado, let's welcome to Eric to the show. Eric, welcome to the show, and how are you doing today?
Hi, Einal. Very nice to meet you. Thank you very much. Thanks for the invite. Happy to be here.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, and I'm excited to learning more about yourself and your journey. I think, like you mentioned, like you're originally from Ireland and you moved to Colombia, isn't it? Like 1.5 years, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's right. So I am about 2.5 years ago now. I was currently working in a bank. I just graduated from college,
Yeah,
and I did a master's in positive psychology and coaching. And I kind of went on my own journey of fulfillment and purpose first. So I knew I wanted to travel once I graduated.
hmm,
So I saved up some money while I was working in the bank, and I decided to. I actually first went to Guatemala. Yeah.
right.
So Latin America was always something that I've gravitated towards. I don't really know why, but intuitively it was something that I suppose I was always interested in. So I started there, made my way down more down south, and decided to settle in Colombia. And I've been here now, as you said, in Medellin for about 18 months.
Yeah, interesting. So,
hmm
so how did you get the wake up call, like about finding your purpose? Like you mentioned, you was in a different kind of job, and from there on,
hmm
like traveling the world, like is that what you always wanted to do, or like it came to your mind like that job is not for me, I need to find something else? How has it all got
Yeah.
started?
Yeah. So I suppose it probably goes further back than college, predating to that. My
Right.
original introduction to psychology would have been through sport. So I played a lot of sports when I was younger, a lot of soccer, a lot of GAA, Gaelic football and hurling. A lot of listeners mightn't be familiar with that, but that's an Irish sport.
Mm,
Um, so I played a lot of that when I was younger and played to like a relatively high level. And around the age of 18, I had to get a hip operation. So I had to take a step back from sport. So I began questioning, I suppose, a lot of my identity myself. What else am I about when I don't have sport? Who am I?
yeah.
So that coincided with me starting college. And luckily for me, I decided to study psychology. So initially, the gravitation towards psychology was for sports reasons, mainly for myself, to be honest, to know how to perform under pressure, what makes people, I suppose, achieve great things in
Yeah.
sports. So that was it. I kind of gravitated towards the sports side of things, and when I completed my bachelor's degree, I went on to do a master's, as I said, in positive psychology and coaching,
Mm,
which is basically about getting the most out of yourself. That's what it specializes in. So from there, I actually worked with some athletes myself
right.
as a coach for them as a performance coach, and I began to see lots of similarities between sports and life. Basically, I began to see sport as a metaphor for life. So a lot of things that these athletes were issues and challenges that they were incurring on the sports field were issues and challenges that people often occur in life. So the challenges were very similar, and also the solutions and the way of getting through those challenges was quite similar. So I kind of decided to branch out of sports and just specialize in life itself, because whatever realm you're interested in,
Yeah.
there's lessons that you can take and transfer to other areas of your life. So I suppose going back to your original question, did I always know that the banking and the other job I was doing wasn't for me? Yes, I did. But I suppose I kind of had to go on my own journey. So I was 23 years of age when I graduated with my master's degree,
Mm,
but I also knew that I had a lot to learn about life, and I felt like travel was the vehicle through which I wanted to learn about life and find out my own way in terms of purpose and meaning and fulfillment. Um, so yeah, that was it. I kind of had to practice what I now preach.
yeah. So
hmm
you had a very interesting journey, isn't it? And
hmm
so knowing that when to make the leap and following the purpose for you, like when you made the transition, you were single, like do you have a family?
Yes, I'm an only child. Yeah, I'm an only child. My parents are separated, but I've a good relationship with both parents. Um, so no, I went to make the leap. I suppose, yeah, that's a good question too. It does need to be an intuition. You kind of, there's always a reason not to make the leap. You
Hmm.
can always find reasons to stay where you are or where you're not, I suppose we could say comfortable or fulfilled, but there's reasons to stay. So there's a big difference between safety and
Yeah.
expression. And I think that's again, that's where coaching comes in, therapy, counseling, a lot of that is about survival, like people who are having, chronic issues, mental health, anxiety, depression, etc. That's a lot of that is about survival. How do I get through the day? How do I get through the week? How do I get through the month? Whereas coaching is more about, like I said, expression. So it's not just about surviving, it's about, finding what it is you like, finding what it is engages you, experiencing flow, using your strengths, making good connections. So yeah, it's for me, it's always that's basically what life coaching is, in my opinion. That's what my services offer. It's not for the people who are chronically in and like I said, are in that survival state. It's more about these people who are in those moderate levels of mental health. You're alternating between moments of happiness and low mood. You're just kind of, I suppose, coasting through life without ever really experiencing it.
Yeah. That's
Hmm.
very interesting. So my main question was like, do you have like a family, like you have a partner, you have like any like a children, like you have to take care of like before you made the leap or
Okay.
like moving to the country or
No, no. So I was in a relationship at the time. My
okay.
girlfriend was back in Ireland. So as I said, I'm from Ireland. But the relationship didn't work out.
Hmm.
And I decided to go on my travels. So I was single at the time. Like I said, I was 24 when I decided to actually go off traveling. I didn't have any real commitments. So I suppose in that sense, I was blessed. I had the freedom to really go on my own journey. But again, everyone's story is different and everyone's life is different. So, I
Yeah.
mean, the conditions don't have to be those conditions. Everyone's got different responsibilities. Like I said, I was young at the time and I was lucky. And right now, I'm currently in a relationship out here in Colombia where I'm based. I don't have any children at the moment, but it's definitely
Yeah.
something that I do see myself having in the future.
Yeah, that's great. The reason
Hmm.
they asked the question is like when you make so much kind of transition, like
Hmm.
so much easier like when you're single or like you don't have that much responsibility compared to someone go 4 5 children or even the couple of children and married
Hmm.
and they
Hmm.
have like a stable job and they looking for the
Hmm.
purpose or quit the job or quit the business to fulfill their needs because it's get really
Hmm.
really tough, isn't it? So
Hmm.
when you were single and making the shift, like did you take that calculated risk? Was it like to move into like a Colombia, for example? Like did you plan
Hmm.
out everything? Like you had to save up, or like you know exactly how
Hmm.
things gonna be, or like you just packed your bags and left? How
Hmm.
was your transition?
Yeah, so I suppose there's a basic level of preparation that would have to be done. I think for me it was finances. So
Hmm.
I saved up for about a year, about 12 months doing the job that I kind of knew I wasn't going to last and I wanted to quit. So the plan was look,
Yeah,
save money, have this goal and get through it and off you go. In terms of leaving the country, that's all I knew I wanted to do. I wanted to travel. I didn't know where. I had a family friend that was based in Guatemala.
yeah.
So I said, look, I don't even know where Guatemala is. I actually had to look where it was on the map. So it's Central America.
Hmm.
And I had no plan. I said, I'm going to spend 3 months here and we'll just see what happens. That was it. I had
Right.
about 4,000 euro worth of savings in my bank account and my backpack, and off I went on my own. So it was very liberating in that sense.
Yeah.
With the plan, I actually ended up staying there for 10 months. And
Okay.
then, as I said, I came down south. I went to Peru. I've been in Colombia now for a while. But no, there wasn't really a plan. I know
Hmm.
some people sometimes need to have that structure. For me, my call to adventure was just going with my intuition and doing what felt right at the time. I couldn't have mapped out where I am right now 3 or 4 years ago. Absolutely not.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
when you made the decision, like was it your business was stable, like you was running your coaching business, or like is it particular
Yeah.
new?
So again, I kind of grew into the role as as I said, when I graduated, I was 23 at the time, and I have
Yeah.
the master's in coaching. But I didn't feel myself that I was ready to actually coach people. I mean, I was very young. I'm like, who's going to listen to a 23-year-old life coach?
Mm.
So, like I said, I had to practice what I now preach. So I went on my own journey, and while I was in Guatemala, I did lots of different jobs. I worked on a permaculture farm, learned about plants,
Yeah.
learned about nature, yoga, meditation, a lot of spiritual stuff. And I gradually just began meeting people, and people were interested in my story. And these people then were kind of basically coming to me with for some advice, or we would just naturally gravitate into conversations about life, about purpose, meaning, fulfillment, wanting to be better, wanting to change things. So I always, I suppose, from a very young age, gravitated towards those types of conversations. And
Mm.
again, after about a year of doing these informal coaching sessions, you could say, I kind of realized it was time for me to make this a real thing
Yeah.
and really go out on my own and promote my business. All of this was done while I was traveling too. So I've been traveling in total for about 3 years, but I've been to three different countries: Guatemala, Peru, and Colombia. So I
Right.
suppose you could say, like, in each place I was based there for a prolonged period of time. So I did
Mm.
have that ability to promote my business online as well. So that's kind of how I've evolved into where I am right now with the project and with my business and with my coaching.
Yeah. And how's your first couple of years of like running the business while you're traveling and new to
Hmm.
business well, and also as a startup, isn't it? Like how's your process?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, it can have its challenges for sure. I think your priorities have to be very clear. So
Mm.
mine has always been, if it's ever a toss up between going traveling like backpacking or my business, I'm going to pick my business. You know,
Right.
I feel like every decision that I've made, definitely over the last 12 months, has been based around my business, my
Yeah.
coaching, growing it, because like I said, purpose and fulfillment is why I set out on this journey, and that hasn't changed. I haven't been sidetracked by, you know, as the people say, shiny object syndrome.
Mm.
Wanting to go to other countries and more countries and more countries. Not necessarily, no. But it's definitely challenging. And like I said, I think the fact that I've been to three places in 3 years in a way has given me that stability to have a routine, have a structure to my day, commit to what it is I really want to do.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I think I've got a nice balance here between, I suppose, enjoying the sun and enjoying the fine weather, especially in the winter months, sun that I
Yeah.
wouldn't have in Ireland, but also putting the work in.
Did you feel like in them last 3, 4 years, like since you made the shift, like I
Mhm.
shouldn't do that, or like I had a stable job, or like should I, like did you had a moment like I feel like just leave
Mhm.
everything and just go to like a secure job or something like that?
Mhm. So where the dough kicks in, yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose no. I've been very lucky that way. I have a very supportive mother.
Mm.
She actually traveled a lot when she was younger, so I suppose the way I was raised, she always just said to me, "Do what you like. I just want you to be happy." So I've never felt that societal pressure to, just get the job, stay in the job, make the average salary, get a house, just live that life. And it's
Yeah.
not that there's nothing wrong with that life. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that for me personally, um, I just never felt called to it.
Mm.
So to answer your question, no, I've never felt that.
Yeah. You're lucky that
Mhm,
way, and like a lot of
mhm,
entrepreneurs, like they start something, and obviously it's not like it all goes to straight paths. There is like a lot of ups and
mhm,
downs. Some
mhm,
what you expected, like it probably gonna go completely disaster where, and then you feel like why I end up in the place in the first place, and you question yourself, your ability,
mhm,
the confidence, and everything. Like you have to rebuild. And
mhm,
I had so many times in the moment when I started my businesses and like a different kind of career, like I chosen, and every time like I feel like I quitting, and that time like if something miracle happens and just kept me in the game, and that been happening last
mhm,
10 to 14 years now with my business journey. So
mhm,
yeah, for everyone's cases is different. For you, probably it's been great so far. Could be along the
mhm,
way you can have that kind of doubt sometimes, and
mhm,
best of the best, like they have been gone through like a same way. Like I think like I watched one of the interview, like Novak Djokovic is like a tennis
mhm,
player. So
Mm-hmm.
he was like a number three in the world, and he wasn't like getting to number one in the world record. I mean, like
Mm-hmm.
in the ranking wise, and he felt
Mm-hmm.
like quitting. He's like throwing the towel, like I'm not best of the best. And his dad or some coaches told him like, is the thingy game you love to do, like even though you quit that, then are you gonna continuously play, like even though in the court is like yeah, then just focusing on that, like you just a process, and just leave all of
Mm-hmm.
them outcomes like you are chasing. And and so for moral of the story is that like he had to go through the self-doubt himself. And even though
Mm-hmm.
best of the best is happens like probably not at the early age, probably later of the time, sometime like at the
Mm-hmm.
beginning, is everyone's journey is different, and
Mm-hmm.
which is like a great makes us like a different than others. So with that, like right now you've been troubling and you're running your online business.
Mm-hmm.
What is the number one lesson you have learned last 4 years, like you being your own boss and following your purpose? How is the
Mm-hmm.
life change compared to like where you were working on a traditional job and
Mm-hmm.
working for others, not for yourself?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I suppose the beauty of entrepreneurship is that there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah.
So all of your fears, all of your imperfections, they will come up, and it's your responsibility to deal with them. Um, it's, I suppose, again, in terms of working for somebody else or working in an office job or maybe a job I was doing previous, you can suppress those, you can hide them. So I suppose the biggest takeaway from the entrepreneurship and the journey I've been on is to just basically take full accountability and responsibility for my own development in terms of just a person,
Yeah.
apart from my job and my career. It's something that I really like about the career I'm working in, the career I've chosen, is that you kind of have to practice what you preach all the time. And it's not a case of you go on the journey, you finish it, and then you just help other people. No, no, I'm also on my own journey the whole time as well, you know?
Mm,
So, but again, I wouldn't change it. I really, really like it. I like the idea of having to face your fears. Like you said, when you spoke about Novak Djokovic and other people like that, the self-doubt, the
yeah.
self-esteem, the self-image, the inner talk. Again, that's stuff that I've always gravitated to, you know. I've always been interested in that from, again, like I said, from when I was very young, playing sports, the mental side of life, the mental side of the game, is something I would be doing regardless of whether I was running my business online or working in a different job. I would be doing this in my free time anyway. So for me, I'm just doubling down on it and holding myself more accountable.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So like those are listening today in our podcast, like if anyone wants to make the leap or like change the career path they have or follow their purpose, like what would be your advice to them?
I suppose the first question is to start with, are you happy? And like, are you
Yeah.
happy where you're at in life right now? Do you feel that you're fully engaged with life? Or I suppose a big question you could ask yourself is, what would you like to experience more of for the rest of your life? You know?
Yeah.
So that makes people think more about what they're not doing, you
Mm.
know? Like if I keep doing what I'm doing right now for the rest of my life, will I be happy? Would I have any regrets? Yes, I would. Okay, what would I like to start experiencing more of right now? And go from there. You do have to be very honest with yourself. I think that's the biggest thing I would say in
Yeah.
terms of making a change or looking to even start something. Just be brutally honest with yourself. Like, am I happy where I'm at right now? Am I capable of more? Is there something that I've left behind that I want to, I suppose, explore? And
Mm.
everyone, like I said, everyone's situation is different, and changes can be very small. It doesn't have to be something as drastic as my story. It could be
Yeah.
something like starting to exercise more, making time for your partner more, and committing to meeting your parents while they're still around. That's something very, very small. It doesn't really matter what that is, and that's the beauty of purpose, fulfillment, meaning. Living an engaged life is that it means different things to different people.
Yeah. That's great. Thank you so much for sharing that, Eric. So we are nearly
Hmm.
coming to the end of this podcast. So before we wrap
Hmm.
up, if anyone wants to learn more about yourself or your business, where is the best
Hmm.
place to find you?
Yeah, so at the moment, I'm just currently on LinkedIn. So Eric Baxter or Eric Baxter Coaching on LinkedIn. That's the best place to find me for now. I'm working on a couple of other things at the moment in terms of getting up a website or maybe expanding to other socials. But for now, it would just be LinkedIn, Eric Baxter.
All right, that's great. Thank you so much for your
Hmm.
time. So I wish you very best of luck with your
Hmm.
career right now and the work you
Hmm.
are doing. And I
Hmm.
appreciate your time today and coming to the show.
Perfect. And thank you very much for your time. I really appreciate it. Thanks a million.
You're very welcome. Thank you. So that's a
Thanks.
wrap, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode with Eric Baxter. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. So if anyone wants to learn more about him, or you can find him on LinkedIn, so you can follow him there, or like if you want to send him a DM, you can send a DM over there. So until then, I'll talk to you in the next episode. So take care.